Alright, wanted to go through the basics of the building process for this cob structure here. It's roughly 12 by 12 on the exterior. The format for building it was pretty much the same way you'd build a house, but this one is being used for somewhat of a garden shed. To start, we trenched out the perimeter of the building down to frost level, and you go a little bit wider than your stem wall is going to be. And the main function of this type of foundation is called a rubble trench foundation. Is it allows for drainage, and it also bears the load of the building. So you kind of get a two-in-one function there. So you trench out the perimeter, you make your trench a little bit wider than your stem wall is going to be, and then at the very bottom of your trench, you dig in a fashion so that it's on at least a 2% slope, so that as water percolates down, it's going to be carried out to a trench that trenches out to daylight right here. So at the bottom of the trench, we have a 5-inch perforated plastic pipe that bends the perimeter of the building. It comes out here. On top of it, we tamped down a bunch of drainage gravel so that surface water can percolate through and go into the drainage pipe and come out down this way. Right on top of the drainage gravel, about 6 inches below the ground, we started our stone stem wall here. These are all rocks that we collected from the local environment. And the stem wall it's dynamic. It ranges from about 16 inches wide to 24 inches wide in certain areas. So right on top of the stem wall, we went with the cob material, which is a mixture of clay, small aggregate like sand or gravel, and then a fiber reinforcement, which was straw. Straw is fairly inorganic, and it gives the mixture tensile strength like rebar does in concrete. So you just take your wet cob, and we stuck it right on top of these rocks here, went layer by layer, almost like as simple as building a sandcastle. When we got to the height where we anticipated putting the windows or a door frame, we literally just took our frames and set them in there, made them as level the best we could, and cobbed around them. Let's see. There's certain anchoring systems that we used also to be able to take the door frame and drill like lag bolts in. So where buried in the cob here are strategically placed pieces of wood so that you can have an attachment point for something like a door buck, or if you think you're going to hang something somewhere, they're kind of random attachment points that we built in there. So we have the structural walls, which are all made of cob. And for the roof, we cut down 3 white oak trees and peeled them. And as you can see, set them right here. We have those beams tied into the walls through, we stuck a piece of wood this way, a piece of wood this way, and then took an all-thread rod, threaded it through those 2 X and Y axis pieces of wood, put a nut on the bottom, buried it in the cob, and the all-thread rod runs through this window lintel, runs through it, and then up into the beam where it gets capped off with another nut, tying in the roof with the structural wall. On top of those beams, we have 2 layers, perpendicularly laid, aged 5/4 inch oak wood. I'm sure there's a million different ways we could have put rafters up there, but we have access to a portable sawmill, so we were able to mill all of this lumber and take advantage of that. So all the wood you see here was locally processed. The oak was aged, so that's been sitting around for a while. And on top of the oak planks, we have the start of what's going to be a green living roof, but we haven't gotten that far yet. For the exterior, we went ahead and coated the finished clay plaster with oiled linseed gives it a significantly darker look to it, but makes it a lot more resilient, and it sheds water. It's a lot more durable to scratches and those types of things. You can see the difference in color. This sculpture that we did is what the cob looks like without the boiled linseed oil, and I think this looks a lot more natural without the linseed oil, so it's something I'd go back and kind of account for on the next project. But yeah, that's the basics of it. Can't think of much else to go over. What do you think, Ben?
Was it easy to install the windows?
Yeah, you just have to kind of account for the fact that clay in your mixture shrinks. I think it's about 6 to 15% linearly as it dries. So you have to anticipate that shift, and you kind of, there's certain ways that account for that.
Okay.
But yeah, so pretty simple. In natural building, nothing's perfect. So you kind of go into it with that type of mindset that you could run into all sorts of imperfections, and that's part of the whole thing. But yeah,
Gotcha.
Also we took these already downed locust trees that we found, and we didn't have to cut any down, and used them for some support posts for the green roof there.
What about inside?
Oh yeah, inside it's kind of messy right now. It's just being used as storage for some garden tools, but it's oak floor, pretty durable, and really basic in here, but
It's a little dark in here.
yeah, the windows are hinged. They open, swing up for some nice airflow. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, cool.
Oh yeah, also kind of see some
Let's get a
outdoor sink that's going to go there.
zoom out a little bit.
Perspective on it. Oh yeah, it took probably a total of 6 months with mainly 2 people working on it. It was our first solo project, so there's a lot of room for improvement and more efficient work to be done.
Cool, I'll get a shot of the back.